Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Love and I am a PPE undergrad at the University of Oxford. So as you guys can see from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about how my politics interview went for Oxford. Bear in mind, if you have an interview at Oxford, don't expect them to ask you these questions. The purpose of this video isn't to tell you what questions you might be asking your interviews, because of course they're not going to repeat the questions. It's just to give you like a taster of the type of intensity or pressure that you might be exposed to at your interviews, and is also just to give you guys a sense of hope, because guys, you can conquer the interviews. I conquered the interviews, so you can conquer the interviews, and I should be giving you guys tips at the end, so stay tuned for that. Guys, also, by the way, all colleges are different, so the way that PPEists are interviewed at Church College, I don't know if that's an actual college, it will be different to how a PPEist applicant is interviewed at University College. So it all depends on the college. I'm just giving you guys my point of view, my experience from applying to new college. So yeah, bear that in mind. So this is what happened. On the lovely day of the 29th of November, I received invitations to interviews. I think I had to stay in Oxford between the 5th to the 8th. Guys, I didn't even know what interviews I would have first. I knew that I would have 3 minimum, one for PP and E, but I didn't know what order they would go in. So I didn't know like what should I prioritize in terms of me trying to revise for these interviews. Like I didn't know what to do because I wasn't given any details. Whereas all my other friends, they were told, yeah, I have an interview at this time, this interview's first. They even knew who would be interviewing them. I had no details. I arrived at my college. We had to go to the JCR, which is the Junior Common Room. So I made a few friends there. They were really, really lovely. I wish I could shout them out, but I don't know if they would want me to say their names. When I arrived in the JCR, that's when I finally saw the timetable and I finally was aware of what interviews I would have first. I had politics first. So now that I knew that I would have politics tomorrow, my politics interview was like around 2 or 3. So it's now Monday and I have to leave my room to go to my first interview. I was escorted to the place where I'd be interviewed at by one of the students who was helping out. She was giving me advice, just like, yeah, like, don't worry, you're gonna be fine. So now I've arrived, and to my surprise, she took me to a house, and I was thinking, a house? Like, it looked like a normal house. And we went inside and she took me to the kitchen. She was like, yeah, like, this is where you're gonna have to wait till they call you up. And all I was thinking was, why am I in the house and why am I sitting in the kitchen? Like, I was expecting to be in like some type of departmental building. So then what happened next is I sat down and I had pre-reading for my interviews. So I only had around, this one was longer. I think I had between 10 to 15 minutes for my pre-reading. And the pre-reading was very, very, very small. So I don't have A2 paper on me. So let's just pretend that this was the A2 paper of the pre-reading. The pre-reading was literally like this much. It was literally like it was literally like 3 to 4 sentences long. It wasn't anything too intense or like anything too long. And I was really, really nervous because, guys, when I say I'm so slow at reading, I was so nervous that I would like run out of time to do my pre-reading, but it was fine because my pre-reading wasn't long at all. And all I remember was that the pre-reading was about states and authority and power. It's so funny because power is literally one of my favorite topics in politics right now, but cool. Maybe that's why I passed interviews. Who knows? So I actually have the notebook that I wrote my notes in, because we were advised to bring an empty notebook with us to interviews. And this is the notes that I managed to fill in. I'm not gonna zoom in too close because my handwriting looks scary, but cool. What I basically did was I made little quotes of the text and then I just wrote down any thoughts that came to mind. But it didn't start off like that. As soon as the student who took me to the place left, I had a panic attack, guys. I was literally like, I was so scared. And I was like, love, you only have one shot at this. Please don't ruin it. Please. So I calmed myself down. I brought myself together. And then I started to analyze the text. And I was able to write all of these notes. Didn't need any extra time. I was fine. And I was just literally just waiting in the kitchen. Then I heard footsteps and I was like, oh my gosh, it's about to start. I saw a woman who was going to be like interviewing me, and she was like, are you Love? Like, she has a little accent. She's like, are you Love? And I was like, yeah, I'm Love. And she was like, nice to meet you, Love, coming up. So I went up. Guys, this room was so pretty. All I remember was that like there was pink everywhere. Like the room just had lots of pink couches. I think the floor was pink, or maybe I'm dragging it, but it looked so pretty. Like, I was expecting to see a massive wooden desk and one small chair and then one big chair for the interviewer, but it was nothing like that. There were couches. It looked somewhere in between a bedroom and a living room. It was really cozy, and I didn't necessarily feel intimidated by the room because it was just so cozy and comfortable. So then what happened? So now I've sat down, and opposite me is another lady who's there, who's also interviewing me, and the woman who brought me in is sat on the side, and I'm sat here, and then there's another woman sitting opposite me, and the woman who brought me up now has a laptop on her lap. All she was doing was this. She wasn't even staring at the screen, she was just going like this. I've never seen anyone do that, but that's defo a great skill. I'm asked the first question. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but it was so simple. The question was so calm. Guys, remember all of the notes that I had? Tell me why I stuttered. Tell me why I stuttered. I was like, insert clip of Stormzy.
I promise, like, and even it's been a weird these past few months, and knowing out.
Guys, it was so, like, the starter was so bad. I felt so embarrassed for myself. I was like, fam. But then I calmed myself down. I said, love, you're not going to ruin this for yourself. You've not even started. Why are you messing up already? Why? Once I managed to calm down, I processed what she asked me, and I gave myself some time to think about it, and I answered her question. But I didn't just answer her question. In my head, I was like, since you're not going to ask me what I wanted you to ask me, I'm going to tell you everything that I've written down anyway. I literally mentioned almost everything on my notes. I don't know if she likes the fact that I waffled, but I can waffle quite good. Once I started to talk, I wasn't able to stop myself. I got into the flow of talking, and it was actually really good. So the next question that I was asked was to give an example of someone in power enforcing or exhibiting their authority over someone who hasn't necessarily committed a crime. That is a weird question to ask. I was thinking, there's got to be an answer to this question. And then I was like, stop and search. And when I said stop and search, guys, they looked so shocked. They were so shocked. They really stopped. They were like, oh, Even the woman that was taking notes on the laptop, she was like, and I felt really like, guys, I just want to talk about that quickly. So obviously, I come from London, I come from East London, and like, not even just, this stop and search isn't just exclusive to East London. It's not even just exclusive to London, unfortunately, but it's something that's quite prominent in the Black community in the UK. All of the other interviewees weren't able to resonate with the experiences that I'm able to resonate with. They're not familiar with what I'm familiar with. I've never been stopped and searched personally, but I know so many people in the Black community who have been stopped and searched. Like so many people like George the Poet, he's gone and spoken about it publicly. I know so many people that have been stopped and searched for no reason. All of the other applicants, I'm pretty sure, weren't able to give that answer, if you get what I mean. Judging by the reaction of the interviewers, I'm pretty sure I was the only applicant who gave that answer, stop and search. I don't know what other answer you can give to that question. If you have a good answer to that question, please comment down below, because I actually have no idea how else you can answer that other than stop and search. But cool. Then I was asked, why is it that when it comes to matters such as climate change or global warming, people conform to the ideals or the ideology promoted by like political figures, but when it comes to matters such as health, people are very independent in forming their own views. I said there's huge asymmetric information when it comes to things like global warming, because it's not something that a lot of people can detect. It's not really visible. We see its effects, but it's not necessarily visible, whereas something like health is not only visible, but it's something that each person has an experience with, so it's something that's personal to each person. The second interviewer asked me a question that was just so convoluted. The question was just so like, I didn't like, guys, the question was so weird. It was just really confusing, and I was literally like, sorry? Instead of repeating it, she actually rephrased the entire question and she shortened it down. And that's something that I would suggest to you guys. Don't be afraid to ask the interviewer to repeat what they've said, or to reword or to rephrase what they've said if you've not caught it. Because how are you going to answer a question that you don't understand? How? Like, it's literally impossible. So if you don't understand a question, make sure you ask. When I say interviewers love that so much, because although they're interviewing you to test your academic ability, especially like in an intense environment, they're actually also trying to figure out who is teachable to them. Even as a student at Oxford, I ask my tutors so many questions. Like, I always ask questions and they absolutely love it. It's how I get away with not answering certain questions, or like not being asked to answer certain questions. I'm joking. I ask my tutors so many questions and they absolutely love it because they can tell that I'm trying to learn. And then I was asked a few more questions about climate change. Guys, I don't like climate change. I honestly hate climate change. But I want to give a massive shout out to my friend Diana, because Diana actually gave me like a whole like article on climate change right before my interviews. And guys, like, when I say that girl was godsend, I promise. If I didn't read that article that she sent me, I probably would have flopped all of the climate change and global warming questions that I was asked. So shout out to Diana. So then the interview switched again, and this time I was given a sheet with a bit of data on it. It was literally just a table, and it said the living standards of different countries, and yeah, it said average income within different countries. And I was asked simple questions like, do you think country X should give money to country Y? If so, why? I remember I said, yeah, I do think that country X should give money to country K because there's a lot of relative poverty in country K. And then the interviewer was like, relative poverty? And I was like, oh, sorry, I meant absolute poverty. So that's another tip that I want to give you guys. Make sure that you're being sensitive to the interviewers, because I know that a lot of people receive advice such as, oh yeah, interviewers, they're always there to play devil's advocate. So make sure that you are able to defend your point. Make sure you're able to argue your point. And although that can work in some instances, that's not always the case. So for example, when I said relative poverty, the reason why she was like, you sure relative poverty, wasn't because she was trying to play devil's advocate. It was because I was wrong. Had I not been sensitive to the interviewer, I probably would have taken the generic advice that a lot of people are given and tried to defend myself. Say I tried to defend myself, they would have thought, okay, this girl is unresponsive to correction, because they're not going to tell me, like, they're not going to give the answer to you on a plate. They're going to try and like steer you in the right direction. Like, the interviews are not always there to try and catch you out. She just asked me like a few other small questions. It wasn't hard at all. Like, the questions were not hard. If you're someone who doesn't really perform well in interviews, I would say practice, because the only way someone could have gone wrong in that politics interview was if they were too nervous to think clearly, because the questions that I was asked were not hard at all. I just had to be comfortable. And that's something else that I would recommend to you guys. Guys, they like to see personality. Remember, they're trying to figure out who seems teachable. They're trying to figure out who they'd like to be in the same room as for the next 2 years. So don't be afraid to show your personality. I'd be like, can I have a minute to think about that? Like, I was very expressive. I tried to look like I was enjoying the interviews, and I won't lie, I actually did end up enjoying the interview. I found it quite interactive. I liked thinking deeply about my answers and sharing my thoughts. And even if I felt like what I was thinking was crazy, if I went for too long without answering the question, it doesn't matter how crazy my thought process was, I literally communicated that to them. Let them know what you are thinking. Go through your chain of analysis and your chain of thought in the interview. And yeah, after that, the interview was finished. And I was like, wow, already? But I genuinely enjoyed my interviews. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. If you want to ask me something in private, I'll leave my email down below so you guys can contact me. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys were touched by this video. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe.
Ain't no bus, I'm a native but still tour this city. When I preach I'm certain the only ghost it does is with me.